What's going on, family? Greetings, greenies, Miss Queenie. How are you this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, thanks for having me again. I like to also add to that was on Wall Street. I was not in Nebraska or Nashville, Tennessee or Boise, Idaho, but I was in the belly of the beast, smiling and dialing. As we like, as we used to say, I learned more in the elevator on the ride up to my office than your broker learned all week.
Uh, so,
Okay, well, just a quick recap. Last week, law number one was gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. Now, that's a lot of words, a lot of King James language, so to speak, a lot of Old English. But what that means is gold cometh gladly and it increases, that it's hunting you down, it's running you down, and it's increasing in quantity for the person who will decide to put away or decide to put to the side for his future and his family's estate not less than 10% of his earnings, meaning that if you earn 10 coins this week, one of them goes to the side and you live off the other nine. What happens if you do that for the next 10 months? For the next 10 weeks, you have 1 week's of earnings already to the side. That leads us into law number two, which says that gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. See, we know how the flocks of the field multiply. You have a male sheep and a female sheep. They mate, and you have baby sheeps that grow up and then create more sheep, and it multiplies. Well, that's the same thing with your money, your gold, because gold is money. These words are interchangeable. And what I love, man, and I looked it up earlier today just to have a definition for you guys. With the law, this second law of gold, gold laboreth diligently. Labor is defined as human activity that provides the goods or services in an economy. Industry needs labor for production. The physical activities involved in giving birth, the period of such labor, etc. So the gold labors diligently and contentedly. What does contentedly mean? You're going to love this. In a way that expresses happiness and satisfaction. When I read that right there, that it's like when you are when you're doing your purpose, you're happy. It says the man or woman that's doing what he loves never works a day in his life. Well, what does gold/money love to do? It loves to labor diligently for the wise owner who will find it profitable employment. So we have to employ, we have to put to work our money, and not just the sweat of our brow and our backs. That is not what we were designed to do. That is not our purpose. But to live in this physical realm, you do need money. So put the money to work so it multiplies even as the flocks of the field. Much more to be shared on rule number two as the show goes along, but I like to pass it off to my business partner and brother, Mr. Dwayne Taylor.
oh man, yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to do these sometimes because so much information comes. Like I hear what you're saying, and then I I know what we was talking about earlier today. And sometimes we hear these principles and we just let them just go rushing over our ears, and we really don't take in the knowledge and the wisdom that is truly being presented to us through ancient knowledge and wisdom and these principles. And everybody that invests today use these exact principles to build their same exact wealth. And me and Mr. Yarbo was talking about having your dollars or your Federal Reserve notes go to work for you. And it's like you already do the labor for those paper dollars one time. So what would be smart is to take some of your own labor, take some of your own sweat equity, take some of your own power, and then put it within that Federal Reserve debt note and let it go work for you. It's like let your labor work for you twice, right? We have to begin to shift our perceptions to begin to apply these rules because they're very simple to do and they're very simple not to do. And sometimes we wonder why money is always escaping us. It's because, well, first you got to learn the principles. If you don't first learn the principles, you'll never get it. But then once you learn the principles, you have to begin to do. And it's telling us we have to put our gold or our money to work. We have to find it proper employment. And when you look at the quadrant, you know what I'm saying, the ESBI, the business and the investment side, they are the ones that put their money to work for them. Why? So they don't have to labor for it. Because you never want to labor for Federal Reserve debt notes. You want to acquire them through systems, however, and then you want to put them things to work for you so they create more babies. And that's the purpose of currency. Purpose of currency is to move and duplicate and recreate itself to work for you, to labor for you. It's designed it's designed to serve you. It's not designed for you to serve it, right? But they teach us that it's designed for us to serve it. But they know the truth is that no, it was created to serve us so we could have the things we would like, the things we desire. But I'm gonna go ahead and kick it back over to you, Miss Queenie or Mr. Donovan Yarbrough.
Let me just jump in real quick, Queenie, and say
Oh
one thing
yeah.
to add to what Dwayne said. And the main thing that we want and the thing that putting your money to work for you will give you is that time. When we
Mm,
talk about freedom is the goal, time freedom is that number one freedom, being able to go, be, and do where you want, when you want, for however long you want, with whom you want, with no restraints and no restrictions. So that's the beauty of the money going to work for you. So now you don't have to trade 8 to 10 to 13 to 16 hours of your life 5 to 7 days a week to earn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why step number one is so important. You can't skip step one, because what most people would say when I don't have no money to put to work for me because all my money is already accounted for to pay these bills. So I don't have money to go to work for me. Well, that's why you start with number one. I heard a powerful woman of God say earlier this week. She was like, just quoting the old rap song from Digital Underground. You know, everybody wants to make $1 out of 15 cents, but they don't want to spend the 15 cent.
mm,
Mm.
They don't want to move the 15 cent. You want the dollar out of 15 cent, but you have to have the 15 cent and move it first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we want to go through these 5 laws of gold and show you how they build on each other and how that continues to move you down the path and down the journey to building wealth. This is not a get rich quick plan. This is not a time of scheming and plotting in a negative fashion, in a way to try to cheat or scam someone or some system. That we're not here to cheat. We're here to win at the game and then pass that on to our children, because the Bible tells us a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, which I believe is the wisdom, and the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the
Yes.
just.
Yes.
So let's make sure we pass that wisdom on so the next generation isn't starting at scratch. Man, if I started at scratch,
Mm.
there's no way I'm gonna allow my posterity to start at scratch. Over to
Mhm.
you, Mr. Brown.
Or even less than scratch. Because the truth is that we talked about the statistic of as we're getting older, no one's saving like they should. No one's ready for retirement like we should. I won't say no one, but the vast majority of us are not saving and preparing for the future. And like we talked about last week, a lot of people end up doing GoFundMe's when their loved ones die. So what you're really leaving your posterity to is debt rather than a leg up. So they're behind where they need to be when if we don't take the steps now to make a change. So yeah, this is good. This is good.
And Mr. Taylor, man, if I can, Miss Brown, he said something, and I don't even know if you heard yourself, but I want you to expound on it, man, because you being the coach, you being a doctor and professor of movement,
Hmm.
you said that these steps are simple to do, but this was the knock me over moment. You said they're simple not to do.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Whoa, man.
I mean, when you really think about it, like paying yourself is very simple to do, but we've all learned that it's very simple not to do because we don't do it.
That's true.
And it really does. I mean, man, when I really begin to think about it, just how programmed we truly are and how, oh man, just how our whole being is really probably moving to the cadence of somebody else's thinking. And we
Mm.
don't even really know that. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't even really know who we truly are and how we move to our cadence. So we wonder why consciously we want to take that 10% and save it for ourselves, but then we don't do it because that greater voice, that subconscious voice, that programmed voice is speaking louder, and it's the one that's leading the charge of the decisions we make. And then we reap the repercussions of that, of not paying ourselves first. Because then when it comes time to an opportunity comes its way, we don't have the pot of gold to take that money, to take that tithe and invest it so it can go make more babies, right? We're always scrambling, or when the opportunity does come, we never have no money. And then we're fearful to give up what little bit of money we do have because now we're afraid to lose it. So now we're even choking our abundance even more.
Choking
Mm,
the
We're even
seeds.
choking it down. We're choking
mm.
it even more.
You know what that makes
Because
me? Oh, sorry. I
go
apologize.
ahead, you good, good, go ahead.
That just makes me think. I got my little garden growing in the backyard, and so everything that I'm doing is a reflection for me, of for life. Everything that I'm doing in the garden, and so what you're basically saying is we're taking the seed and we're eating our seed rather than planting it. And the beautiful thing about watching a garden grow is when you take a seed, and let's say a seed is that dollar bill. When you take a seed and you plant it into the ground, the harvest that comes back from that one little seed is mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
It is mind blowing. And let me just give you an example. So one seed, and we'll equate it to $1 bill. One watermelon seed goes into the ground. And that watermelon seed is going to produce a vine that has a potential of producing upwards of 10, maybe more watermelon. And probably more. I didn't get that far with my plant, but one watermelon might have 500 seeds on the inside.
Mm.
So 500 times 10, that's $5,000 bills that are born from that $1.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about eating that seed instead of
Mm.
planting that seed, it's a
Mm.
game changer. It changes the way your
Mm.
whole perspective.
That's
Because
good.
that's just one generation. What happens if you plant that 5,000 seeds? What happens in that second generation? So that just that blew my hair back just then. I'm
That was
and
good.
and Queenie and Mr. Taylor, this is what happens a lot, we're not even eating the seeds, so there's no benefit. We're
Mm.
not even, because we're scared to bury it, because we don't want it. Oh, we don't want it to die, so we end up just holding on to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it ends up doing nothing for us or anyone. It doesn't benefit us in any way. At
Right.
least if I eat the seed, I've satisfied my belly if it was only one
Mm.
time.
Mm.
But if I just hold on to it, I mean, because we're married to lack when there is no
Mm.
lack, there is only abundance. We've been married to lack so much that we hold on to things that we should let go. Literally, Federal Reserve notes, US currency that comes into your life either needs to be going to work are going to the exchange, meaning either you put it to work to go get more, or you're exchanging it for goods and services to provide for your lifestyle. The money, the currency isn't designed to stop.
Mm.
When it stops, that's when you pay the taxes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is a whole
Mm.
nother class now.
Wow.
Gold laboreth diligently and happily for the wise owner who finds profitable employment. Do not hold your Federal Reserve notes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try to store those. Store up treasure where it's supposed to be stored, but not in Federal Reserve notes. You put it in the ground as a seed to grow and go get more, or you put it out in the field, or not even the field, or you put it out in the universe to get the goods and services that you need. Yes,
Mm.
we need nice shoes. Look, man, I saw an ad today for some new Nikes, and I looked at them, and I wore my Nike shirt today just to remind folks the Nike slogan, just do it. The things we're talking about, don't think, just do it. They work, they are true. The richest man in Babylon says, if you have not attained to a bountiful harvest since we were youth, it's because you have either failed to learn the laws that govern wealth, number one, or number two, you fail to obey them. You are now learning them, so please obey them. But the Nike shoes, they were boasting being made from recycled material, which means that the overhead was very low. This is recycled material, possibly free.
Mm.
Price on that shoe was over $200.
Mm.
Wow.
It's a running shoe, knowing that the people that will buy that shoe will not run a day in it, but will wear it for fashion.
Mm.
So they are taking low overhead, putting their brand on it and marking it up. And people are like, oh, I need that. So literally today I was talking to a brother and he was like, man, the next person that asks to borrow $20 from me and I look down at their feet and see $180 shoes,
Mm.
I'm gonna need you to pawn them shoes to me until I get my $20 back. What you talking about? You're wearing your wealth.
Yes.
You are wearing it
Mm.
because you keep putting it into objects and things that don't produce for you, but simple gratification. But
Mm-hmm.
again, at least you're eating it and not burying it. So please do something with the seed. We prefer that you put it to work for
Mm.
you so that it multiplies even as the flocks of the field. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
Mm.
Man, I mean that's pretty much we can pretty much end it right there because
Mm.
it's like we don't want to hit people with too much. We just want to get you really thinking, and we have something so simple. Imagine I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I said, look, bruh, I said, because I break it down: work, labor, and toil. I believe working is working for yourself. I believe laboring is you laboring for somebody else's company, but you might truly enjoy your labor. Or there are people out there who are laboring for another company that really don't, and then you got people who are toiling, that are just collecting the check, ain't doing nothing, whatever, right? So you think about the actual labor and what we do. Well, the actual labor and what we do is to once a month go in our back office and click a button and acquire an asset for ourselves. But when we do that, that's putting our currency to work for us. That's putting our money to work for us. Every time we click that button, we're not only putting our money to work for us, but we're keeping it at the same time to build a reserve for us. So the actual action, the labor of us bringing the money to ourselves creates the action of cash flow, which creates the action of wealth flow when you bring it to yourself. Instead of going out, it's coming to you. It's like, it's almost like it comes to you. It's almost like you kind of like throwing it out and it's stuck to your hand and it comes right back to your hand, right? Kind of like Spider-Man, like you throw it out and whoop, it comes right back to you and you put it back in your pocket. And when it comes back to you, that's how you make your money.
I like that.
But see, it's these principles that we have to believe that are true. It's the systems that are true. It's the principles that are true. Don't don't get caught up in the messenger. Get caught up in the message. Get caught up in the wisdom. Get caught up in the laws. Get caught up in the systems. That's what you need to get caught up in. So with that, we're gonna have something that you can connect with to start your gold savings today for free. We have exactly what you need to not only begin to save and acquire an asset, but the action of you doing that and sharing that with others creates a residual cash flow so you can go do and use the cash flow for the goods and the services and the things you would like to exchange those paper notes for. It's beautiful. It's a win-win situation. It's a beautiful situation. And all you have to do is, like Mr. Yarbo said, just do it. Over to you, sir. I'm done.
Man, if I may, man, that is the and it's, like you said earlier, it's so simple to do, but it's so simple not to do because people hear it and it's like, no, it's got to be more than that. Because you see the Jeff Bezos of the world, you see the Warren Buffetts of the world, and it's like, well, this is not what they did. Well, in a nutshell, it is. If you break it down to the most common denominator, wealth is created by the movement of currency. Money has to move. If money's not moving, there is no wealth being created. They found a system that moved money to them even while they were asleep. Right. You don't have to recreate a system. You can find a system that does the exact same thing. And we've already found it. And in a time like this, it not only creates the wealth, but it creates the insurance as well. It does so much more than you can even think of, like Queenie referenced with the watermelon seed. I mean, literally one watermelon seed holds in it the DNA and life force to keep the species alive. Just one. One can produce 5,000, 5,000 produces 25,000, 25,000 produces 125,000, 125,000 produces on and on and on. It's endless. But that one seed had to be sown first. Right now, we want you to sow the currency of belief. Don't believe in Queenie, Mr. Pay Yourself First, or Coach Taylor. Believe in the system and believe that the system that has been designed for you to, at the same time you're casting the seed, is coming right back to you. And you actually never really let it go. But it's almost like Abraham taking Isaac up to be sacrificed. When he raised the knife up, God said, lay not your hand on the child, because now I know that you were willing to believe the system of sacrifice. You were willing to believe. And now it was written, it is already finished. Ladies and gentlemen, we come here every Friday. We love what we do. This is not labor. This is not work or toil for us. This is it is labor. It's a labor of love to come and read to you now the 5 laws of gold and tell you that gold is money. And it's time for you to start putting your Federal Reserve notes to work in a time such as this, because they're printing them to oblivion. What's the difference between $1 and $1 and $1 trillion? 12 keystrokes. That's how easy it's done. And if you listen to them, they tell you exactly what they do. Oh, we just add to the balance. Who's adding to your balance? No one. You have to do it. And you can't continue to do it on your back. Jobs are going away. Another million unemployed this past labor statistics, and we applaud it because it was the first time it was just under 1 million. We're literally applauding bad news because it's not as bad as last week's bad news.
That's crazy.
No, ladies and gentlemen, we have good news for you. We have a plan that's a win-win for everybody and in any economy, and with who's ever in office, be it your local government or your federal government, it does not matter who's in office. These systems work. These systems are built and designed to have the blessing, gold, silver, and God's money chasing you down, the people's money, cryptocurrency, which we're learning about. See, when you connect with us, you connect slowly to the other things. You have to do the needful thing first, and then the layers come with it. And you don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, but you're literally looking at two people on this stream currently, and myself and Mr. Taylor, who click a button every day and get paid. We're literally getting paid in our sleep, because when we wake up and click that button, ding, deposit to the account. Real, tangible, spendable money, but we don't spend it because it's still seed. So, oh man. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. Queenie and the KingsMan. I'm out. Just do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop trying to figure it out with your finite wisdom. The best way to figure out how the inside of the house looks is to go inside it. So come inside the house.
Yes.
That's all I have. I'm tapped out.
Wow. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today for yet another great episode. Thank God it's Financial Freedom Fridays, and we're excited to have you join us on this journey. I'm going to put a link in the comments so that if you are interested in beginning your journey to start paying yourself first, you can create your own free account and join
Shout
us
out to
in the
Keisha
journey.
Bradley.
Hey, Keisha. Oh, I'm so glad you're excited. So we'll give you the information in just a minute. I'll post it in the comments, and you can create your own free account and then start paying yourself first. Save your own money by investing in an asset that will secure yourself and your family for your lifetime. All right. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, KingsMan, for bringing the wisdom, bringing the knowledge. We are so grateful. And thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate that comment in the very beginning. You guys have a great one. Make sure you come back and join us next week and bring a friend. We'll see y'all later. Bye, family.
Love.